Welcome back to my van build. Today I'm working on the floor. My van came with this mat inside of it, and I'm just going to cut it into a few sections and take it out so that I can use those sections to trace along the plywood when I'm ready to cut it. I used these little plastic pieces that were actually in the walls that I took down to cover up the holes that were left in the floor before I put anything down. So the aluminum comes with these quick connectors to connect the pieces. So we've got the layout done, and now I'm just connecting each one with the connectors. Some of them are really hard to get in, so I'm using this WD-40 each side and then using the rubber mallet to push it in. I decided to use aluminum for my floor framing instead of wood because it's super lightweight. It's easy to change if I wanted to change my layout, which I did a million times, and it's also water resistant. After I glued down the aluminum frame, this is what it looked like, and then next step was to start with insulation. I decided to use the same insulation I used in the walls and the ceilings just because I loved it, and it's water resistant, it's easy to use. After the insulation was done, I put down some weights and a few heavy objects along the frame just to let it dry overnight, and then I started in cutting the plywood. So this is where that mat came in handy, the one I cut into several pieces. I took each piece and traced it along a new set of plywood so that I had the exact layout of the floor. Then I had to make sure that the plywood pieces actually fit in the van, so we had to take them in and out a few times, make a few adjustments, and then once they fit, I drilled holes on the side of the plywood pieces and then inserted dowel pins so that I could connect each piece together and so that it would be sturdier whenever I'm walking on it. After that, I sanded down any of the rough edges that were left from the cutting of the plywood, and then I primed it with some mold and mildew prevention. This took a long time because I had to paint one side of each piece, let it dry overnight, and then flip it and paint the other side. Once it was painted, I was able to put them into the van to actually put it all together. We took each section of the plywood one by one, and I had to measure exactly where the aluminum pieces were because that is what we are going to be screwing the plywood into to hold it down. Okay, the first section is done. Had a little issue here. Didn't measure correctly, and this one did not go in, but got it fixed. Minor setback. The floor up here was creaking, so we have to take it up, put some adhesive down, and then screw it back in. So the squeaking is fixed over here by the door, but now it's squeaking over there. Okay, so we went back in with some adhesive and tried to squeeze it underneath the wood. We got it pretty far under. I've got to wait sitting here while it dries. There's very little squeak now, so hopefully once it dries it will be good. We put in all of the other pieces of the plywood, and this third piece was really difficult to get in and out. This took so long, but we finally figured it out and got it fixed, and then we just screwed in all of the pieces. And it's done. Now I have to let the putty dry and then come back and do the vinyl. Like and subscribe to follow along my van life journey.